also known as Dragonfly7673. You're watching DragonflySoars. I'm recording this about 6:45 on Monday, July 1st. This is a short week at work. We actually have the 4th and the 5th off for the holiday. So, don't have huge plans. We were supposed to take a trip, and best friend and I got our wires crossed. I was waiting for him to do something. He was waiting for me to do something. Anyway, but it turned out it worked out okay because we need to go to Chicago because a friend of his is an actor and actually is starring in Three Musketeers play down in one of the theaters in Chicago. So, and normally we wouldn't have gotten to see him. So, I am recording outside because it is nice. It is not too hot. It is not too cold. The cats are a little unhappy because I won't let them out. Ever since the condo community made me take down my kitty fence, now the cats go crazy if I sit outside. And the one time that I left the door open for like 30 seconds while I turned around to grab something, Tigger went out and tried to go onto the garage. There's just a little overhang above the garage door, and he went out on the garage door, and I was sitting there like begging him to come back in, and I was not happy. So they are locked back in. I wish they'd just let me leave my kitty fence up, but whatever. So Tour de Fleece started this past weekend. This is my first year officially participating in the Tour de Fleece. Last year I was a new spinner, and so all I did was just basically do kind of a secret goal with myself that I was going to try and spin every day. But I didn't post online, I didn't participate in any teams, anything like that. So this year I actually signed up for teams, and I tried to do teams that would work for me. So I signed up for rookies, which is anybody who's a first timer, and your goal can be whatever you want. So my goal is to spin every day. I signed up for one. I'm looking at my notes because I don't remember how to pronounce it. The Peridot team, which is kind of a wild card. In the real race, it's all the people who kind of pack together and stay together and support each other. But it's kind of the one where you can do whatever you want. So, again, I'm promising to spin every day. So, those are easy. Knitting Tina, who is Blooming Knitter, has the Knitting Blooms podcast. She has an unofficial Tour de Fleece participation going on. She does not have an official team. She wasn't sure if she was ready for that yet. But she does have a place where you can post whatever you're working on. And her only requirement is you spin 20 minutes a day. So all three of those are just basically spin. Then I signed up for Team Kromsky, which is spin anything you spin on a Kromsky wheel. Well, both my wheels are Kromskys, so that was easy. If I spin on a wheel, I spun on a Kromsky. And the last one I signed up for is Team Highland Handmaids. That's the only one that has specifics. You either have to be spinning Highland Handmaids fiber or spinning on a Highland Handmaids drop spindle. And in my mind, I was thinking that I would be spinning this fiber that I had gotten recently from Heather, Boardwalk Roses, because I was going to use this fiber as my July Birthstone-a-long spinning project. So I figured I'm going to be spinning this anyway. However, I couldn't start that right away because I had something else on the wheel. So I actually started spinning, in order to qualify, I started spinning fiber, which is all caught up, on a drop spindle. This is 2 days worth of 30-minute spinning. This fiber is one that Tiff got me when she was doing a local yarn crawl. The yarn shop was in Tempe, Arizona. So it's a local fiber only there, as near as I can. There's no online presence or anything like that. But it was labeled as Tempeh fiber. And it is a merino silk. It's very pretty. It's got lots of variation in the blues. It's only 2 ounces, so I was figuring that I could possibly even get it done. But I will say, I just pulled off a small piece, and I still have a chunk left after an hour of spinning on the drop spindle, so I am not nearly so fast on the drop spindle, not even close. But I haven't picked up a drop spindle since I took a class at Midwest Folk and Fiber with Abby Frankamont. I think that was last year with Jenny, and then I didn't pick it up again. And before that, it was even longer ago. So I actually have to say, this went a lot better than my previous attempts. I think because I now spin on the wheel, I understand the mechanics of what needs to happen better. I'm also not as afraid if something, if the fiber breaks or something like that. So, because the fiber will break. But anyway, so for Tour de Fleece, I did start spinning on the drop spindle. However, my wheel is freed up, and I will show you why in a second. So I will actually start this, which means I may or may not spin on the drop spindle. It might just depend on how I'm feeling, how much spinning time I have. I mean, if it turns out that I don't have very much spinning time, I might do that, but this is also my July fiber. What I did when I was posting for June, I count every 4 ounces as a project. And I don't think I ever really told you guys that. So if you guys want to split up, if you've been spinning more, split them up into 4-ounce chunks and count them as multiple projects. Alright, so those are my Tour de Fleece things. Now, what I got done, and the reason I didn't have stuff on the needles, is I've been showing you the alpaca and the yak that I've been spinning the singles for. So, let me pause for a second and post pictures of the Highland Handmaids fiber spindle and the fiber I'm going to be spinning, and then I'll come back and show you this. Alright, I suspect this is going to be a short episode. So, I finished spinning the singles, single bobbins the other day. And then, over the weekend, I applied, Saturday, I applied both of these. I don't remember what the yardage is now. The total yardage for everything was just over 1,000. Everything should be about 4 ounces, but I haven't actually weighed them individually. So this one's pure alpaca. It's alpaca merino silk. This one's yak merino silk. Now, the fun thing comes in the next 2 that I applied on Sunday. I actually turned these into a gradient. So this one is all gray. This one is 2 plies of gray with 1 of brown. This one's 2 plies of brown, 1 of gray, and then 1 brown. So I made my own gradient. It's about a sport weight, I think. And like I said, total there's over 1,000. I actually have a tiny mini skein of the alpaca. There was a couple. Oh, I have it here. I didn't realize it fell. Little tiny mini skein. This one's 28 yards. So I'm going to post a couple pictures here real quick and then explain what I did. Alright, part of what you saw were 2 pictures of the bobbins, and I labeled them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then A, B, C, D, E, F. I did that so it's a little easier to explain. They are lined up in the order that they were spun. Now, when I was spinning, I was actually doing like 1 gray, 1 brown, 1 gray, 1 brown, 1 gray, 1 brown. Sometimes I mixed it up and did a brown and a gray, but I always knit them in pairs. But when I lined them up in those pictures, that was the order I spun them. Number 1 was the first one I spun of that color, all the way through to number 6. Number 6 was the last I spun of that color. Same with the A to F. If you look on my stash page for this set, I actually explained exactly what I did. But what I did is I had 6 bobbins of brown. I took 1, 3, and 5, and that was going to be my 3-ply. Notice I took them as as widespread as I could, because I didn't want to spin ones that were right next to each other, because the odds are you will get a more consistent yarn by kind of grabbing from various spots. So I did 1, 3, and 5 for my 3-ply. Put them in a bag. Then that left me with 2, 4, 6. Well, I took the 2 that were farthest apart, 2 and 6, put them in a bag, just 2 bobbins, and I put the last one in another bag. When I finished doing the gray, I now had the same thing. A was first, F was last. I did, just because I wanted to, I did B, D, and F as my 3-ply. Took those 3, put them in a bag. Took the farthest apart of the remaining 3, which was 1 and 5. That was 2 bobbins. I put them in the bag with the 1 brown. And then I took the remaining 1 and put it in the bag with the 2 gray. So that way I mixed and matched as much as I could, so I didn't have to worry that at the beginning I was spinning thicker than I was at the end or something like that. This way, by the time you do a 3-ply, you end up with a really round yarn, and it ends up looking very consistent, even if you didn't actually start out consistent. I was also doing things like, if a bobbin ran out, but there was still yarn on the other bobbins, the other 2 bobbins, I might take the one that has the most of the remaining 2. I would make an Andean bracelet, and then I would actually make that one a 2-ply, so I could keep going. So I used every bit of yarn. I only had a piece of gray yarn that was maybe it was like maybe 5 feet, 4 or 5 feet. And then I Navajo plied the last little bit. This was 2 bobbins had some remaining, so I Navajo plied them into this last little bit, because I figured whatever I knit, I'll start with the gray and then work my way through. That will make this color my last one, which means this may be the amount that saves me. So, I'm really, really happy with how it came out. If you're not quite picturing, I did try and put pictures on my stash page, and it's already linked in the show notes. So, I am thinking for a shawl. I have no idea how to pronounce this. It is from the Historic Museum in Denmark. It is a Danish shawl from around 1897, and somebody sort of reverse engineered it. It is a very basic shawl, but it's got just enough, it's hard to see in these pictures, it's got just enough of a lace detail on the borders and some interest in the middle, and it's got a different border at the top. It has just enough interest that I think it will be not boring, and at the same time it has kind of a rustic look, which I think will go well with the hand spun yarn. It's not a fine enough yarn to be a delicate lace shawl, so I think this will work, and it should be incredibly warm. So, that, I don't know how to pronounce this. Seal or something like that. I don't know. It is linked in the show notes already. So that is all of my spinning. I also have been working a little bit on the twitchy socks. I think the last time you saw him I was on the black. My son has, right now he has 2 chiropractor appointments a week. He's been having a lot of problems with his back. So they are doing correction, massage, muscle stimulation, and pretty soon he's going to start physical therapy. But anyway, so they're long appointments. I mean, normally when I go in for a chiropractor, I walk in, I get adjusted, and I walk out like 10 minutes later. It's not a big deal. But so I've been getting a little knitting time. These are just my purse knitting. So they may or may not progress. We are thinking of seeing World War Z at some point, so that might be when I will get some more knitting. We also want to see Monsters University, but we haven't done that. Another item I got, this, Polly Knits sent this to me. Now, it happens that my friend Jenny did some spinning, and she was looking for something that would be a good lace shawl that would show off what she had spun. I think it was a loop back, but I don't remember for sure. And somebody pointed out this pattern, and I saw it and I thought it was really pretty, so I put it in my queue. Paul must have me on his friends list and watch, because I don't think it was even 24 hours, and he had sent me the pattern and said he was really hoping that I would knit it. He couldn't wait to see how it came out. It is called the Arietta by Asa Turquoise. It regularly retails for $6 on Ravelry. It has written directions and charts. It's a little funky to follow because the chart, I can't show you. It's got 3 columns of charts, which I've never seen before, but it's okay. I mean, I understand what they're doing. It took me a little bit to figure some of it out, but I got it started at least. So, I have that here, and I picked this yarn because of the July Birthstone-a-long. So, this is tangled. I haven't woven in this end yet, and I probably will because it's driving me crazy. I'm on my signature needles. I'm almost always on signatures. So this is the very beginning. I am still in the setup section. Once you get going, you knit until you have used up approximately half the ball, because you're increasing. When you get to approximately half or a little less than half, you then start doing the decreases. So this is Shuppelwool Zauberball. It has a German name, but I saw today that it is boysenberry, I think, in English. But anyway, it's pinks and maroons. So that is what I'm knitting that out of. And I'm hoping to finish that in July. We'll see. I spun a lot on Saturday and Sunday because I really wanted to get the plying done, because it was the end of June and I wanted to get this project done, this spinning project done in June. That was my June Birthstone-a-long spinning project. I'm planning on taking it easy after this and just making sure I get my 20 to 30 minutes in. I actually hurt my shoulder because I was doing too much this weekend. So if you are participating in the Tour de Fleece and you're doing some power stuff, make sure you rest, make sure you stretch. So I'm going to be switching off a lot more between the knitting and the spinning. I'm trying to make sure there's everything else is, yeah. All right. The Birthstone-a-long this month is Ruby. Now, most of us think Ruby Red, Oz's Ruby Slippers. Rubies tend to be more along the pink or the almost a dark purple to pink colorway. which is why I'm doing, my two things are this for the pink color and the Zauberball. However, I recognize that a lot of people think of rubies as red. So anything that is pink to red, and any variation in between, maroons, pinks, burgundies, anything you want in the pinks to reds. I prefer it not to be bright red because we did bright red for garnet in January, but you guys know I'm not going to kick you off if it's red. I mean, people always say, oh, I hope this is enough. Except for one item that Helena and I discussed, Willow Fairy. And we discussed it ahead of time. I have never said no to anybody yet. So, I don't know if you can hear Tigger. He's downstairs by the patio door, and I'm upstairs in the balcony, and he's meowing because he can hear me. Okay, you might have seen a weird splicing in there because I suddenly couldn't talk. Mom finished her doll for June, which was Pearl. So I'm going to post pictures for her June doll. Alright, I'm going to draw for June's Birthstone-a-long prize. And then I want to talk to you one more time about the blip thing. So, but let's draw. So, there were, I think every month we're increasing a little bit. So, we had 83 posts this time. Now, granted, one of them was, of course, the first post, and I think there was one I deleted this month. If I delete your post because it's a chatter post, I will also copy your message over into the Birthstone-a-long thread and credit you with it, because I don't want to delete your message. I just want to delete it from the finished objects thread. So I already set this up for 2 through 83. I'm hoping you can see that. And the prize this month is the Weeping Angels yarn. And I said last time that if somehow Allison wins, I will give her a pattern prize. And that's true from now on. If you donate a prize and you win, you get a pattern from me. It hasn't come up yet, but... Alright. The number is 79. Which is on the last page, so that's handy. Usually it never happens that way. It's usually like as far apart as possible. Ooh, it is Calico Kitty 6. And she was one of the people on Plurk. I sent out a reminder saying, hey, make sure you get your stuff posted, and she got her stuff in. And this is a really cool scarf she did. It's the Gelling Rune Stones scarf. The yarn was gray and reminded her of the stones, but if you haven't seen it, go take a look. So I don't know her real name. Debbie. So if you are Debbie, Calico Kitty, then please contact me with your full name and full address, and I will make sure to give your information to Allison, because she is going to be sending it. It will take time because it is coming from Australia. So, and that leads me to the very last thing. This was a short episode, I hope. I actually have stuff I want to get done. And the whole blip YouTube thing. I put a poll on our site, on one of the Ravelry threads, asking how do you watch DragonflySoars now? Do you stream it direct from the website or from the Ravelry thread? You know, you just watch it live. Do you go to YouTube and watch it? Do you go to Blip and watch it? Do you prefer to download via something like iTunes or Downcast, but you would be okay with having to stream it in the future? Or are you like me and you prefer to download it, and really if you can't download it, it's probably going to be a problem? Please be honest. I'm trying to gauge. And I'm also kind of sharing this with some other podcasters. I know some people are going to go YouTube only because that's what they can afford. I think I have already made my decision that I am going to try to use one of the sites and pay. I was feeling like it was a high cost, and then Kagi TM of the High Fiber Diet, she has an audio podcast that has been around for years, over 5 years. And she says they pay $20 a month to host. I'm like, if that's the case, then going $20 a month to host is probably not that big a deal. I have not been kicked off Blip yet, right now, and I'm not going to proactively jump ship either. If they want to get rid of me, they're going to have to get rid of me. Now, I have heard from some people that they actually got dropped from a pro account to a free account, and then they got kicked off. I have not had either of those things happen yet. I'm crossing my fingers. I mean, it could just be that they haven't got to mine yet. So, we'll see. But I will tell you, I've pretty much made the decision that I will try to pay for something so that it can still be downloadable. But I still want you to answer the poll, please, because there seems to... I have heard a couple people saying, well, you know, if your viewers really love you, they'll just figure out YouTube. I know how to work YouTube. I can go to YouTube. That's not an issue. As a viewer, for me, it doesn't fit my lifestyle. I download things to my phone and I watch them. I watch them at my desk when I'm doing data entry. I take them to the doctor's office. I take them to the park. I use Downcast because I can watch them at 2 or 3 times speed, so I can actually get through several of them. I've shown you before how to have a video cast and do it audio only, so I'll listen to it in the car. All of my ways and times for listening to a podcast or watching it are offline, totally offline. The only place I could watch YouTube videos is at home. If I'm at home and I'm watching anything, I'm watching TV, and it's shared time. There are some nights when I have the TV all to myself, and I'm usually catching up on, you know, guilty pleasures like The Bachelorette. But most of my viewing is shared viewing with best friend. And he's not going to sit through knitting podcasts. So, viewers are smart. So anybody that says, I really can't watch YouTube, it's just not going to work, I understand that. I also understand people that are saying, I can't afford to do anything else, YouTube's all I got. And I know that I will be picking and choosing, and you know, YouTube you can't necessarily pause, things like that, or speed up. I will have to decide on some of them what I'm going to do. But I personally, at least if and when it happens, I've already mentally decided that I'm going to try and go ahead and pay for it as long as I can. That was very long and much longer than I had intended. I just don't want people that are saying that they really need to download, that they're really not going to be able to watch if it's not downloadable. I get it. I'm one of those people, and I'm not trying to be stubborn. It just doesn't fit my lifestyle to watch podcasts at home where I have Wi-Fi. And I don't have an unlimited data, so I don't stream if I'm out in the world. So, that's all. I will talk to you guys all later. And for people that truly do watch on the blog, it seems there's a lot more of you than I expected. That's also great, because that actually gives me some ideas too. So, please answer the poll. It's on one of the Ravelry threads. And I believe that is it. Calico Kitty, please get in contact with me. Allison, I will be sending you that information soon. I think that's all. If you're participating in Tour de Fleece, good luck. And keep spinning. Keep knitting. Whatever you're doing. Crocheting. I will talk to you guys all later. Bye.
Hi. I just realized that I actually forgot to mention that we have two fabulous prizes for July's Birthstone-a-long. That's right, two. One is coming from Mountain Pearl, and one is coming from I Am New York City Girl. One of them is a beautiful skein of yarn with matching stitch markers, and the other one is a $15 Ravelry prize of your choice. That includes anything from the Mini Mart or the patterns. That is $15 or less. So you can see those at the, right after this when we run through the Birthstone-a-long prizes. But I just wanted to make sure to let those two know that I really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye now.